chasing down a daydream, all those years living in a blur, all that time never truly seeing things the way they were. Now you're here, shining in the starlight. Now you're here, suddenly I know. If you're here, it's crystal clear. I'm where I'm meant to go. And at last I see the light. And it's like the fog has lifted. And at last I see the light. And it's like the sky is blue. And it's warm and real and bright. And the world has somehow shifted. All at once, everything looks different now that I see you. Now that I see you.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. I'm Sunny Daye, and welcome to the Revealing Experience. Please, let's give some love to Aria. That was so beautiful, Aria. Thank you.
Thank you.
She's so angelic, the way she sings. It's so beautiful. So let's welcome each other and sing our welcome song. Yes, it's in your program, but you won't need it. Here we go. Come on in, we welcome you. Come on in, we welcome you. Let go, be free. Come on in and take a seat. We're glad you're here. We're spreading love, joy and cheer. So come on in, come on in, come on in. We welcome you. Come on in, come on in, come on in. We welcome you. Let go, be free. Come on in and take a seat. We're glad you're here. We're spreading love, joy and cheer. So come on in, come on in, come on in. We welcome you. Come on in, come on in, come on in, come on in, come on in. We welcome you. Come on in, come on in, come on in, come on in. We welcome you. Come on in. We're all in, but come on in. We welcome you. Come on in. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I love how we get to sing that song to ourselves, to welcome ourselves into this space as well as one another. And we now can open that heart space even greater as we sing Reveal. Yeah? Here we go. Reveal, reveal the love inside of me. Reveal the love that I was meant to be. Every time I open up, love is what I see. Reveal the love in me. Reveal, reveal the peace inside of me. Every time I open up, joy is what I see. Reveal the joy in me. Reveal, reveal the love inside of me. Reveal the love I was meant to be. Every time I open up, love is what I see. Reveal the love in me. Reveal the peace. Reveal, reveal the peace inside of me. Reveal the peace that I was meant to be. Every time I open up, peace is what I see. Reveal the peace in me, the joy. Reveal, reveal the joy inside of me. Reveal the joy that I was meant to be. Every time I open up, joy is what I see. Reveal the joy in me.
So, in this place of revealing, in this sacred space, I just open to the peace, the love, the joy that is all, that is God, that is this thing that we like to call spirit. I recognize true spirit through the dance, through the song, through the music, through the inspiration of Reverend Sunshine's talk, through each one's mind, because I know that we are all one, all sentient beings, all people, all things, all one. Just blessing this evening, so much love, a heart that is full, grateful, and ever loving. And so it is. So, good evening. I just want to thank Aria and Sunny for such beautiful music. And you know, this is a special time because it's that gap between spring and summer, you know, it's just that time. So it's a wonderful time to be here, isn't it? Yes. So our theme this month has been me, me, me. I like it. And the book that we've been using this month is It's Up to You by Ernest Holmes. Reverend Sunshine's message tonight is the art of creation. And we know that. We know that we are all about creating, all about being that one that's creating, letting Spirit just move through us. And so I just invite you to just listen with your hearts and your minds and your ears as I've chosen a reading this evening from The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success by Deepak Chopra. And this is a little excerpt from The Law of Intention and Desire. Inherent in every intention and desire is the mechanics for its fulfillment. Intention and desire in the field of pure potentiality have infinite organizing power. And when we introduce an intention in the fertile ground of pure potentiality, we put this infinite organizing power to work for us. In the beginning, there was desire, which was the first seed of mind. Sages, having meditated in their hearts, have discovered by their wisdom the connection of the existent with the non-existent. That's from the Hymn of Creation by the Rigveda. I just want to finish it with just a little bit more about intention. One pointed intention is that quality of attention that is unbending in its fixity of purpose. One pointed intention means holding your attention to the intended outcome with such unbending purpose that you absolutely refuse to allow obstacles to consume and dissipate the focused quality of your attention. You are able to maintain an unshakable serenity while being committed to your goal with intense passion. This is the power of intention. So it is. And so now I'd like to just welcome Reverend Sunshine up to the podium.
Good evening, everyone. What a joy to see everyone here. Thank you so much to our practitioner, Linda Light, who gave such a powerful invocation and such a great reading, which totally leads us into tonight's talk, the art of creation. And I have to tell you, everybody's written a book about the art of this, the art of that. We could even write a book about the art of just living these science of mind principles. It's interesting because, yes, I love that my theme for the month is me, 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 me. And the reason why I picked that, if you weren't here last week, is because there's 4 weeks, and each week this month, we're going to focus on who? Me. Exactly. Because it's all about, that's right. And of course it is. Because when we're talking about the art of creation, we're not talking about anything or anyone out there. We're talking about this indwelling presence that is right where we are. It is sitting in your seat, and no, you're not sitting on it, but it is within you. This power and this presence, this one mind, this God, spirit, source, right where we are. And that when we tap into it, we create beyond our wildest dreams. Now, I have to tell you that in the art of creation, Ernest Holmes talks about it, and actually Emma Curtis Hopkins talked a lot about it last month when she talked about uncovering the lies in our life. And this month, and in particular with our reading this week, Ernest Holmes speaks to dishonesty. Dishonesty. And he speaks to dishonesty in being sometimes very, very subtle, because for the most part, if I were to ask folks, who's honest or who practices honesty, for the most part, most of us live a pretty honest life. Whether it's cash register honesty, meaning that at the end of the day your till comes out correctly, or whether it's bathroom honesty, only you know if you washed your hands when you came out. Honesty or dishonesty goes a lot further. He talks about it in a way that can hinder our intended purpose for creating. When we don't take personal responsibility for what's happening in our lives and what's outpicturing in our lives, he talks about how dishonesty cheats us and robs us from the opportunity to really know what's within us and where we're creating from. For instance, when we blame the weather for a physical deal in our body, My knees hurt. No, it's going to rain. It's going to rain. I can feel it in my knee. Or when we blame the flu season for having the flu. Interestingly enough, Ernest Holmes talks about it not to shame us, because we're all on this road of uncovering, discovering, discarding what is no longer needed, like the lies and the dishonesty in our lives, and really stepping into the fullness of who we really are, really stepping into the truth so that we might learn this art of creation, that we might create the life that we really want to live, the life that even Emma Curtis Hopkins talked about last month, which is freedom. See, all of the great avatars, and I call them avatars because they have really been so influential in my life, they all talked about it in such a clean and pure and simple way that if I want to get down and dirty with it, I get to really be honest and go, wow, this thing that's happening around me is something that I've created through the power of my thoughts, through the power of what I continue to entertain in my life. Now, I'll give you an example. The Wright brothers had this idea that they could fly. Now, they had never seen a plane before. So this idea that we have sometimes of, I got to see it to believe it, like, if you're from Missouri, from the show me state, some people is like, no, you got to show me first, and then I'll believe. But see, the Wright brothers had no clue that there was anything obstructing their idea or their desire to create. Just like the person who created these chairs or designed these microphones or anything that we see, it first came from a thought, from an invisible thought, and then came into manifestation. And sometimes we have it backwards, right? Because we want to see something first and then go, oh yeah, I believe it now, because here's the proof. Whereas in the art of creation, we get to spend time seeing a world of peace, seeing harmony, and what that looks like, what that feels like, and embodying having a successful life. We get to sit in our spiritual practice or sit in our car in our spiritual practice and just spend a few minutes being in that silence and seeing exactly what it is that we want to create and setting the intention. Now, the good thing about being responsible, right? Because if I tell myself that someone else is to blame for what's happening in my life, I'm being dishonest. And sometimes that's a hard pill to swallow. And it's not easy. But let me tell you the joy of that. Ernest Holmes says that the joy of knowing that I'm responsible for the creation and what's happening and occurring in my life is that it means that I am in and using the mind of God, therefore God is right where I am. Hello? Should I repeat that one? The joy about knowing that I'm responsible or that creation happens in, through, and as me is that relationship, is that I am using the mind of God, and therefore if I'm using the mind of God, that means God is right where I am. There's nothing, no thing that separates my life from that life that God is. There's nothing, no thing that separates your life from that life that God is. From that one mind, from using this good in, through, and as your very life. So if we're using it and we're creating from a place of doubt and fear, then we have an opportunity to say, oh, that's not really what I wanted. And I get to choose again. But it really means, and it's really an affirmation that God is right where I am because I'm using the mind of God, the activity to create, to manifest, to bring into fruition, to demonstrate. And so it is that if I bake a cake and you like the cake and you say, Sunshine, that's a good cake. What's the recipe? And I sit down and I write the recipe for you. And you take the recipe home and you say, use 2 cups of milk. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna use 2 cups of milk. That's pretty good. Use flour. Flour? I don't like flour. I'm not gonna use flour. Who needs flour anyway? Use a tablespoon of sugar. Sugar? I like sugar. I'm gonna use 5 tablespoons of sugar. Well, you see where I'm getting, right? You're not gonna get the same cake. And it's because we're not following the recipe. And so it is here with the art of creation, that though we might have a recipe, some of us might like to add a little flair to it. But when we keep the basics of the recipe, we get it. We get the mainstays of this recipe, and we get to have this cake that's amazing, sunshine cake. We get to have it. And it is the same with the art of creation. Setting an intention. Taking a look at what's being made manifest in our lives. Am I happy in this area? I mean, usually folks look at the 5 areas of life, right? My career, my finances. They look at relationships. So we look at each area of our life. Am I happy here? What am I creating? If I like what I'm creating, then let me keep doing what I'm doing. But we can create by default, or we can create on purpose. And creating on purpose takes not only intention, but also dedication. It takes the dedication necessary to see it through. That even in the face of, it's not happening, it's kind of like putting the seed in the soil and going, wow, this is going to be a lemon tree. And we water it, and a couple of weeks later, we dig it back up. What's up? How come you haven't, sprung yet? What's happening? And we put it back in, and then, a week later, we dig it back up. No, even in the face of not seeing anything, we must engage in the trust, and we must continue to do what is before us. Do what is before us, to continue to see ourselves as having that thing, as enjoying it, as enjoying the freedom that comes from honestly living and honestly seeing and knowing the truth. And the only truth that we get to recognize and realize most of the time to experience that freedom is that God and I are one. Therefore, that which is true of God is true of me. So the joy that God is, I am. The peace that God is, I am. The abundance that God is, I am. The love that God is, I am. The harmony that God is, I am. To become so steeped in that truth and that knowing that the only thing that can manifest, the only thing that's going to manifest from that are loving relationships, abundance in all areas of our life, not just prosperity, but abundance in every area of our life. The art of creation takes not only setting our intention, but the dedication of time and of sitting down. Now, I'm one of those advocates, of course, that our spiritual practice has to be something fun. I talked about it a few months ago, remember? Where it's like, what is it that brings you joy? Whether it's surfing, whether it's knitting, whether it's hanging out with friends, name that a spiritual practice. Name that your spiritual practice and engage in it as a spiritual practice. See yourself there with your friends. See yourself knitting these beautiful pieces. And while you're doing so, remind yourself of the truth of who you are. Remind yourself of the truth of the environment. Here's the thing. Some folks have maybe someone they work with or maybe someone that they engage in certain activities. And let's say for some reason, this is not your favorite person. I guess none of you have that. Here's the deal. If I am thinking to myself, wow, I have to interact with homie boy, let's call him, and he's not necessarily my favorite person because, he's slow. Every time I go to him to do something, he messes it up. There's always a problem. There's always a delay. Some of y'all are laughing. Y'all can't identify, huh? It's almost like I have to go see him. It might even be your dentist. I don't know. There's this feeling, this angst. There's this like, oh, do I really have to go and engage with this person? Okay, I'll muster up, what I can, but I'll go. Well, if we're honest, we've just created a situation, not only in that moment, but also in the future, because we're the one with the thought. We're the ones with the thought and the feeling behind it. So, of course, without a shadow of a doubt, of course, each and every time we engage with homie boy, there's going to be a problem, there's going to be a delay, there's going to be something wrong that has to be fixed all over again. I've created that. Whereas I have the option and the opportunity, because this is an opportunity, it's simply calling me forth to know something different, something new, to see him or her, whoever it is in your life, in the light that they really are. They are God expressing beautifully and magnificently, and it's me who has the skewed vision. It's me who's projecting something onto them that's not even really theirs. And so when the situation turns out all messed up and scrambled up, it's easy to blame him, but I have a part to play in it too, because I've created that even way before I got there. So of course, our opportunity then is to see the way made clear, to see that our interaction with this individual is loving, is peaceful, that everything comes together for our good, that they're having a prosperous and wonderful day, and that when they meet with us, they are filled with joy to do whatever it is that we come together to do, whatever it is we come together to talk about, whatever it is that we've come together to engage in. We begin to see it as successful. We begin to name it so. And even if it doesn't work out that way the first time, continue to see it done. And believe me, after a while, that person really hasn't changed. But we have. We begin to see the truth of this person. We begin to know the truth, and we begin to interact with God as that person. We begin to know it. And before you know it, we don't even know what all the fuss was about in the first place. Because something has happened. And what has happened is that we have been transformed through the renewing of our mind. We have been transformed through the renewing of our mind. And that is the art of creation. That is exactly what it takes in order to live a life of freedom. But we got to get honest first. We got to get honest. And it's not always easy, but it can be done. Oops, there I go again, believing a lie. Who knew? Who would have thunk it? This week, begin to examine your week. Begin to see all of the places where you gently, subtly, outright lie to yourself. Where you tell yourself it's somebody else's fault. Where you don't take responsibility for what's happening around you. And begin to make it a practice to see it differently, to meditate on it, to take it into your prayer work, to take it into your knitting work or your surfing extravaganza, to take it into your situation when you're with friends and feeling the joy. Bring that person into that joy, just in your mind. See that person. See yourself being free from the lies that have kept us in such bondage for so long. The art of creation is not only about intention, but it is about dedicating ourselves to our spiritual practice enough that we use the mind of God to then create and to demonstrate our principles. And from there, we can continue to redistribute our good. From there, we can continue to lift each other up and to see the truth about one another and to see God in everything that we do. That feels pretty complete to me. So why don't we move into our quiet time, our meditation time, and maybe take that into our meditation time. And as we begin to just simply close our eyes, and allow the words of the song, the prayer, the talk, as we simply allow it to fall gently upon our heart space, we allow ourselves to just breathe. And as we take in that breath that is life, that is God, that is love, we remind ourselves of this truth that life is for me. That as we have the opportunity to create in our own mind by using the mind of God, that we do so with an intention. The intention of life is for me. Everything comes together for my good. I easily and effortlessly engage in my spiritual practice that I might know this truth on a deeper level more and more. I surrender all the lies. I surrender all the mistruths. And I simply open up to that which is true. And that which is true is that right where I am, God is. I am that which thou art, and thou art that which I am. There is nothing, no thing that separates our life from the life that God is. Therefore, we engage in the art of creation even now, by simply planting that seed that life is for me, that all is in divine order. We plant the seed of my life is abundant. We plant the seed of there is love plentiful in my life. There is peace plentiful in my life and harmony. And we simply continue to cultivate it. We know time after time after time that as we continue in this process and as we dedicate ourselves to the knowing of this truth, that it is indeed made manifest. It indeed demonstrates. So we sit quietly, knowing this truth for ourselves. and being grateful for it and feeling it and knowing it as our very own. And we allow it to simply be made manifest in, through, and as our life.
the silence there is unspoken joy. In the silence there's release from a world full of chaos and noise. So I wait for these precious moments when I hear all that could never be said, and right here in this holy moment, I find God, I find myself.
And indeed, it is in the silence where we demonstrate our dedication, where we manifest this truth that we are indeed not only setting our intention, but we're dedicating our time and our energy and our thoughts and our attention to that which is true, to that which is real. And so how grateful I am for this time in the silence where we've had this opportunity to just simply be with that which is the truth, that which is real, that we have had the opportunity to simply anchor into the content of the consciousness of our minds, that there is one power, one presence, one life, and that is God, and that is our life. That God is living in, through, and as us in a magnificent and powerful way. And oh, how grateful I am that this is the truth of my life and this is the truth of our life. That God is expressing itself beautifully and magnificently as each and every one of us in a powerful and joy-filled way. It has already been given. And so we simply open up and accept. We come to the well spring, not with a thimble to be filled, but we come with a vessel big enough to fill, that we might fulfill our life as the life that God is, that we might enjoy the freedom that God is, the joy that God is, that we might know this truth for ourselves. So for this, I give thanks. For this truth, I give thanks that we've participated in the art of creation and that we have focused in on ourselves, that we might better shine that light that is God within us, God around us, God as us, God in us. That others might see this light and know that that light is exactly who and what they are as well. So for this, I also give thanks. And I allow it to unfold in our lives in a perfect and beautiful way. It is so, and so it is. Amen. Amen. Welcome back, beloveds. Where'd you go? Went to the truth, huh? How wonderful. Thank you so much. I love community meditation, community quiet time. It's just so powerful, so rich. It helps me tremendously, so thank you for your consciousness. Speaking of consciousness, it is now time for our conscious giving. We have been receiving so much through our music, through our prayers, through our talks, through each other's company. We've received so much. And so it is our conscious giving time now, where I invite our ushers to come forward, and thank you in advance for reaching in and consciously giving of your gifts and your tithes and your offerings to this spiritual community. knowing that as we simply become grateful for something in our lives, that we give from that place of gratitude, knowing that we have been given so much and we're simply participating in the reciprocal nature of life. We're simply participating in the redistribution of good. And so as you take your gifts, your tithes, your offerings in your hand, and you simply give it your own blessing, we simply know and give this blessing, knowing that that which fills this basket is a symbol of our dedication, is a symbol of the work that has not only come forth in, through, and as us, but that it also simply prepares a place for those who come, that they too might know that their life is indeed the life that God is, that they might also enjoy the freedoms and the wisdoms and the principles and the truths of their own life. That as these doors remain open and as we continue to serve the greater community, as we continue to serve the global community through our live streaming, we know that our gifts, our tithes, our offerings are simply a way that we participate in the reciprocal nature of life. So we give thanks and abundant thanks for the ability to do so. And we bless these gifts, these tithes, these offerings by saying, and so it is. Amen. Ushers, go forth and multiply. And as you give, you receive. So please open your hearts and receive the beautiful music of Sunny Daye.
Thank you, Reverend Sunshine.
My joy. Have fun.
She tells me, have fun. Easy to do in this community and with all this love here. So this is a lovely song where I do get to see it here and then see it here, yes. I see trees of green, red roses too. I see 'em bloom for me and for you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white, bright sunshiny days and dark sacred nights. And I think to myself, Sonny, yes, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people passing by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies cry, and I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than we'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Play a little bit on colors of the rainbow Also on the faces of people passing by, I see friends shaking hands, saying, "How do you do?" They're really saying, "I love you, I love you." I hear babies cry, I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than you and I will ever know. Hey, I say to myself, ooh, oh, what a wonderful world. Yeah, yeah, hey, hey, I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
Yeah.
We are the world.
Sunny day. Thank you, beloved. All right. So tonight's question is, what lie, if you're bold enough to talk about it tonight, what lie are you ready to get rid of this week, or what area of your life are you going to focus on this week in terms of maybe uncovering some of the lies that you've told yourself so that you might participate better, so you might fully participate in the art of creation in your own life? All right? So this is a time where our community is the revealer of truth. And so who would like to simply maybe speak to a lie that you've uncovered, or maybe an area of your life that you're going to work on this week in terms of looking to uncover some of that dirt we don't need anymore? Thank you.
That's what I just can't get over the services you offer us here. It's such a wonderful teaching
Thank you.
opportunity. I've never been in this kind of environment before, ever. Oh, yeah, the one that's plagued me all my life is I'm not worthwhile. And, just all the stuff that goes with that. And I'm really sick of it. I've been sick of it for some time, but never quite been able to get rid of it, It's kind of little devil that just keeps on hanging on in there. And I'm hopeful. I listen to your tapes every night when I go to bed. And somehow I always fall asleep during those tapes, but I think that's okay, because I think I'm getting it anyway, even in my sleep. So this is going to be a wonderful week listening to what you have to say. Thank you.
You're welcome. And thank you for talking about that. So many of us believe so many times that we're not worthy. So imagine yourself for a moment saying to God, "You're not worthy," or "You're not enough," and how absurd that would be. So we begin to shift right there and go, that which is true of God is true of me, and begin to just simply begin to embrace that a little bit more and believe that a little bit more. And when that creeps in, that's a lie. I don't know where I got that from. It's a lie. What's the truth here? That which is true of God is true of me. That which is true of God is true of me. And begin to simply make that our mantra or our meditation or the affirmation that we use for ourselves. Someone else. Maybe an area you're going to look at this week. Hi, beloved. Great shirt with all the sparkly. You're just shining on. Tell us who you are.
Hi, I'm Shauna. I'm usually not good with speaking in front of people, but one thing I'm realizing is I'm going to stop looking to other people for the answers in my life that I need to figure out for myself, because I have the true answers, they don't.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Shauna. Absolutely. God is within us. That means the answers are within us. And when we simply ask our higher self for the revelation of that truth, it absolutely comes. And it comes in a language that you understand. So I always say that. I go, reveal it to me in a language I understand. Because sometimes I'll be getting all these signs and stuff. I don't understand the signs. Break it down. Make it plain. Y'all don't identify, huh? Thank you for that. Okay, one more. In the back, maybe two more. Okay, good. Hi.
Hi, my name is Bob, and I realize this is really basic, but it's just the concept of taking full responsibility, not blaming whether it was my mother, my wife, or partner, whoever it was. And I'd heard this years ago, but if you take that word blame and separate it, it becomes be lame.
Be lame. Check that out.
Of all the people in the room.
Thank you. Wow. See, I told you we're all revealers of truth. He just taught us something, huh? Absolutely. Yeah, taking that personal responsibility. Because it could have happened, yes, but if we continue to carry it forth, that's us carrying it forth. So we can drop it right now. We can. One more. How are you, beloved?
Hi, I'm Wendy. Something that really rang true for me tonight, and I've heard it for a long time, but it makes so much more sense tonight, is that intention without attention isn't as powerful. So I don't know if it's a lie really for me, but I think it's been easy for me to do the work around intention, but then not keep my focus. And I get scattered and I go places and things will pop in and I'll say, wow, that happened, that's cool. But I think that really clear attention on the work of intention makes a huge difference.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for that. Wow. I want to take a moment before I go back up on the podium there to recognize Reverend Tammy Mars and Reverend Rick Mars, who are here with us tonight. I'm so grateful to Reverend Tammy for turning the reins over and giving me Wednesday nights, because this is so much fun. And I'm having the time of my life, and it seems that as we continue to grow together in spiritual community, as we take on this path of unfoldment, as we take on this path and this journey of recognizing the truth of who we are, and as we do that together, how wonderful it is to not only see it in our mind's eye and to claim that, but then to come here and be in spiritual community and to see how we get to grow together. Like, we don't have to do this alone. Yeah, we go home and do our meditation and do our practice, and yeah, we get to come here and we get to share that with one another. We get to see each other's growth. We get to hold each other up. We get to hug one another. Y'all know how much I love hugging. And we get to grow, which is always so wonderful because it doesn't have to happen alone. We get to do it together. So it's always my joy to be here with you tonight. And it's always my joy to keep on my prayer list all the folks who helped this Wednesday night service unfold so beautifully and so perfectly. And so I want to thank our practitioner, Linda Light, for knowing the truth and opening us up in prayer and that great reading tonight. She and the other practitioners will be available this evening in our chapel. If you're feeling the call to prayer, if there's something on your mind or your heart that you would like prayer around, please see our practitioners. It is their gift to you to be able to know the truth for you and about whatever situation is happening. They will spend a few minutes with you in the chapel in prayer, knowing the truth for you and sending you off on your way to experience your joy-filled life. So thank you very much. I also want to thank our musicians tonight, Aria, who we haven't seen in a little bit. Thank you so much. What a blessing you always are.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And of course, Sunny Daye, who's back with us this month. Thank you, beloved. Tonight we have Annette, and she's doing our video. She's also making sure that folks at home can see us through live streaming. So thank you for being with us tonight. Thanks to Ed, who made sure that we all sounded really good tonight. And of course, thanks to Jenny, who coordinates everything for us. And of course, a special thanks to Rich. His name is Richard, but he says that Reverend Tammy told him to just say, my name's Rich. This way he can say, I'm rich. You know, what a great affirmation, right? He does the recording of our CDs for us, and every week he makes sure that we have CDs in the bookstore, so please avail yourself to our bookstore and all the goodies there, including the CDs of tonight's services or any of the other services that are offered here at Seaside. And mostly and mainly thanks to all of you for showing up tonight, because it would have sure been empty without you. And it would have been pretty boring. So thank you so much for being here tonight. Let us rise and do our prayer. And of course, the way we pray here is in song. It is in your bulletin, but once you get it, you got it, and it's ours. Please join us afterwards for some tea and some goodies in our family room and get a hug. Ready?
Ready. Ready? This is our prayer, a song of peace. We get to be the change we want to see. With open hearts and open hands, we lift our voices, in love we stand. This is our prayer, a song of peace. We get to be the change we want to see. With open hearts and open hands, we lift our voices, in love we stand. This is our prayer, a song of peace. We got it. We get to be the change we want to see. With open hearts and open hands, we lift our voices, in love we stand. We lift our voices, in love we stand. We lift our voices, in love we stand.
Good night, everyone. Come and get a hug.
Just before the dawn, when the light's still gone, shine your way. And you may not know where to go, shine your way. Open road, but it's still dark. Build a fire from a spark and shine your way. Feed the feeling in your heart. Don't conceal it, then you'll start to find your way. No one can stop what has begun. You must believe when I say all of your tears will dry faster in the sun. Starting today, shine, 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 shine your way. There's an open sky and a reason why you shine your way. There's so much to learn, and now it's your turn to shine your way. There's a feeling deep inside, you can let it be your guide to find your way. There's no time for us to waste, got to take a leap of faith and fly away. Don't have to walk, now you can run, nothing can get in your way. All of your tears will dry faster in the sun. Starting today, shine, 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 shine your way.